Arkadaşlarım, saygıdeğer katılımcılar, değerli basın mensupları. Dünyanın yakın tarihte yaşamadığı olağanüstü bir dönemi yaşıyoruz. Covid-19 virüsünün tüm dünyayı etkisi altına alarak pandemiye dönüşmesi, insanlığı büyük bir sınavla karşı karşıya bıraktı. Son 2 yıldır mücadele ettiğimiz pandemi süreci, dünya genelinde sağlıktan ekonomiye, sosyal hayattan tüketim alışkanlıklarına kadar hayatımızın her alanında çok derin izler bıraktı. İş yapış modellerinden tüketici beklentilerine kadar birçok alanda köklü değişimlere sebep oldu. Bu süreçte turizm tüm dünyada tarihinde gördüğü en büyük daralmayı yaşadı. 2019 yılında büyük bir ivme yakalayarak 1,4 milyara ulaşan uluslararası seyahat sayısı ile tarihin en yüksek seviyesi yakalanmıştı. Uluslararası turizm gelirleri ise 1,5 trilyon dolarlık bir büyüklüğe ulaşmıştı. Ancak pandeminin etkisiyle 2020 yılında uluslararası turizm hareketlerinde %73 oranında bir daralma yaşandı. Ve geçen yıl uluslararası seyahat sayısı 1 milyardan fazla bir kayıpla yaklaşık 400 milyon seviyesine geriledi. Türkiye'de bu daralmadan payını aldı. 2020 yılında toplam ziyaretçi sayısında %69, turizm gelirlerinde %65 azalma yaşadık. Ancak bu rakamlara bakıp aldanmamak lazım. Zira bu rakamların ifade ettiğinden çok daha büyük bir zarar söz konusu. Kitle turizmi ile ilgili hemen hemen sadece Antalya bölgesindeki sayılı otelde ve 1-2 pazar kapsamında gerçekleşen turizm hareketine ait bu rakamlar, turizmin gelişmekte olduğu bölgelerimizde ve kitle turizmi dışındaki alanlarda yaşanan felaketi ortaya koymaktan oldukça uzak. Rakamlarla ifade edilen durum, pandeminin sektörümüze verdiği hasarın görünen tarafını oluşturuyor. Maalesef işin görünmeyen tarafında iç açıcı olmayan başka bir tablo daha var. Turizm çalışanlarının yaşadığı işsizlik, turizmcilerin içine düştüğü ekonomik darboğaz, sektörün yüz yüze kaldığı borçlanma ve ayakta kalma çabası ile tüketici nezdinde oluşan tedirginlik ve güven kaybı bu süreçte yaşanan diğer olumsuzluklar. Bu büyük felaketin etkilerini azaltmak, akabinde ortadan kaldırmak için TÜRSAP olarak biz ve sektörün tüm unsurları el birliği, güç birliğiyle çalışıyoruz. Bu sektörü bugünlere getiren gücün biz olduğumuzun farkında olarak yeniden ayağa kaldırma sorumluluğunu da taşıyoruz. Değerli konuklar, pandemi nedeniyle tüketici beklentileri ve trendlerinde de birçok değişim yaşandı. Dünya ekonomisinde tedarik zincirlerinin bozulması, uluslararası seyahatlerin uzun bir süre askıya alınması, ülkelerin kendi içine kapanması, turizmdeki mevcut ezberleri alt üst etti. Pandemi özellikle ilk döneminde seyahat etmek bir yana insanların evlerinden dışarı dahi çıkamadığı bir süreci beraberinde getirdi. Pandemi döneminde hizmet anlayışı ve uygulamaları köklü bir şekilde değişti. Sosyal mesafe kavramı gündelik yaşamın bir parçası oldu. Hijyen ve güvenlik tüketici tercihlerini belirleyen ana unsurlar olurken butik destinasyonlar ve tesisler bu süreçte öne çıktı. Önümüzdeki dönemde özgün küçük tesislerin öne çıkacağı, daha küçük gruplar halinde seyahat edileceğini öngörüyoruz. Bu sayede ülkemiz turizminde de bir değişim gerçekleşecek ve bugüne kadar turizmden yeterince pay almamış bölgelerimizin öne çıkma şansı doğacaktır. Bizim gibi incoming turizm esaslı ülkelerde uluslararası seyahat kısıtlamaları nedeniyle boşalan kapasiteyi dolduran kaynağın iç turizm olduğu, iç turizm pazarına daha çok önem verilmesi gerektiği de bir kez daha görüldü. Pandemi dijital mecraları her sektörde öne çıkarırken turizm de bundan payını aldı. Bu nedenle tatillerini ertelemek zorunda kalan her yaş grubundan insan pandemi sonrası döneme dair tatil planlarını internet üzerinden yaptıkları arama ve araştırmalarla şekillendirmeye başladı. Satın alma kararlarında dijital mecralar üzerinden yapılan paylaşımların etkisinde büyük bir artış yaşandı. Kendilerini doğru konumlandıran sanal gerçeklik, artırılmış gerçeklik gibi yeni teknolojileri kullanarak tüketicilere ulaşan, ürün ve destinasyonlarını tanıtanlar yakın gelecekte daha da öne çıkacaktır. Bu yeni dönemde sürdürülebilir ve sorumlu turizm anlayışı çerçevesinde özgün, yerel, doğal, tarihi ve kültürel olanı korumak yönünde gelişen ciddi bir eğilim de dikkat çekiyor. Dünyamızı koruma güdüsü daha da arttı. Küresel seyahat pazarında seyahatlerin ana kolunu halen kitle turizmi oluştursa da çevre duyarlılığı ön planda olan sürdürülebilir turizm anlayışına sahip tüketici kitlesi de giderek artıyor. Saygıdeğer katılımcılar, Türkiye kendisini turizmde kısa sürede üst sıralara taşıyan avantajları ile yeni dönemde de turizm dünyasının önemli aktörü olmaya devam edecektir. Bu kez sadece incoming turizmde değil, dünya turizminin geleceğinde çok önemli bir yer tutan kongre, sağlık, gastronomi, macera ve şehir turizmi gibi alanlarda da sahip olduğumuz potansiyeli harekete geçirmeliyiz. Bu dönemde her bölgemizin hak ettiği payı alacağı bir turizm modelini geliştirmeliyiz. Özellikle ülkemiz turizminin en köklü destinasyonlarından olan Ege bölgesi ve İzmir, doğası, kültürel ve tarihi değerleri, kıyı turizmi olanakları, gastronomi zenginliği, inanç, sağlık ve MICE turizmi altyapısıyla yeni dönemde turizm açısından önemli avantajlara sahip. Bu süreçte en çok zarar gören turizm segmentlerinin başında gelen kruvaziyer turizminde İzmir'in öne çıkması için yapılan çalışmaların devam etmesi, sadece bir uğrak limanı olmaktan ziyade hub olması sağlanmalıdır. Değerli konuklar, turizmde doğru zamanda doğru strateji ve politikalar üreterek uygulamak geldiğimiz noktada artık hayati önem taşıyor. Tüketici tercihlerinde devreye giren yeni dinamikleri iyi analiz edip buna göre hareket etmek gerekiyor. Bu noktada büyük veri, bulut sistemleri, yapay zeka, robotik süreçler hayatımızın vazgeçilmezleri olmaya başladı. Big Data olarak adlandırılan uçsuz bucaksız bir veri denizine sahibiz. Bu veri denizinin içinde kaybolmamak için dijitalleşmenin getirdiği olanaklarla elde edilen verileri doğru biçimde analiz etmek, anlamlı bir bütün haline getirerek bu çerçevede stratejiler oluşturmak büyük önem arz ediyor. TÜRSAP olarak pandemi döneminde gerek yurt içinde gerekse yurt dışında diyaloğa ve bilgi alışverişine son derece önem verdik ve buna uygun adımlar atarak çeşitli çalışmalar gerçekleştirdik. Gerçekleştirmeye de devam ediyoruz. Yurt içinde kamu kesimiyle olduğu gibi sektör paydaşlarıyla da ortak hareket etme çabası içinde olduk. Yurt dışında muadil kuruluşlarla bu dönemde de diyaloğa özen gösterdik. Online toplantılarla görüş alışverişinde bulunduk. TÜRSAP Fuarcılık ve İSFAŞ işbirliğinde bir ilki gerçekleştirdik. Şubat ayında online olarak gerçekleştirdiğimiz 14. Travel Turkey fuarımızla sektörümüze bu zorlu dönemde moral verdik. Geleceğe dair planlama ve projeksiyonlarını yapmaları için çok önemli bir zemin oluşturduk. Travel Turkey fuarının yanı sıra 1. Uluslararası TÜRSAP Turizm Zirvesi'ni düzenleyerek sektörün sorunları ve beklentilerini ortaya koymaya, yeni döneme yönelik ipuçlarını yakalamaya çalıştık. Saygıdeğer katılımcılar, önümüzdeki dönemde gerek sektörün, gerek kamunun ortak akıl ve vizyonla hareket etmesi büyük önem taşıyor. Ancak bu perspektifle hareket ederek turizmin aldığı derin yaraları sarmayı başarabiliriz. Dolayısıyla bu yöndeki gayret ve çalışmalarımızı artırarak devam ettirmeye kararlıyız. Yeni dönem şeffaflığın, bilgi kirliliğinin önlenebilmesi için medya ilişkilerinin eskisinden daha da önem kazandığı bir dönem olacak. Yeni döneme hazırlanırken bu gerçeklerin gözden kaçırılmadan hareket edilmesi son derece önemli. Önümüzdeki dönemde hem Türkiye hem Ege ve İzmir turizm açısından önemli fırsatların olduğunu düşünüyorum. Ege ve İzmir'in turizmdeki yolculuğunda TÜRSAP olarak her zaman yanında olacağız ve üzerimize düşeni yerine getireceğiz. Her yıl İSFAŞ ve İzmir Büyükşehir Belediyesi işbirliği ile gerçekleştirdiğimiz Travel Turkey Turizm Fuarı başta olmak üzere bölgeye yönelik çalışmalarımızı artırarak sürdüreceğiz. Barışın, kardeşliğin, hoşgörü ve anlayışın şehri İzmir, tüm bu değerlerle büyüyen turizmde de hak ettiği yeri yeniden alacak. Hangi turizm sorusuna vereceği cevapla ülkemizin diğer şehirlerine de örnek olacaktır. Bu bağlamda bize desteklerini esirgemeyen, vizyoner bir bakış açısıyla TÜRSAP ile omuz omuza çalışan, yalnız İzmir için değil tüm Ege bölgesi için büyük katkıları olan Sayın Tunç Soyer'e birliğim ve şahsım adına şükranlarımı sunuyorum. Sözlerimi tamamlarken ülkemiz ve tüm insanlığın güzel ve sağlıklı günlere yeniden kavuşması dileğiyle başarılar diliyor. Hepinizi saygı ve sevgiyle selamlıyorum.
Merhaba. I would like to thank the organizers of this conference, the Izmir Metropolitan Municipality, Infectious Diseases Prevention Association, and the Turkish Society of Clinical Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. SunExpress has been a stable and reliable partner for Turkish tourism for more than 30 years. We have a special partnership with Izmir as one of our main hubs. And I'm here today to speak to you from a travel and tourism perspective. Many things have changed in the last 2 years, and I think we're all happy to finally start getting out of our houses again and meet with people. Many people have had to trade in business travel for virtual meetings, meeting loved ones in person for calls and care packages, substituting movies for Netflix and streaming services. But there are some things that cannot be replaced, like the breeze on the shores of the Aegean Sea, feeling the warm sand of Izmir beaches, or getting a hug from your loved ones and feeling to be at home. The travel industry is among the most impacted by COVID-19. SunExpress has been and will always remain a reliable partner for Turkey and for Izmir specifically. Tourism and travel go hand in hand. We cannot talk about one without the other. And in the following couple of minutes, I want to cover 3 areas with you. The first topic is the travel industry in general. How's it doing? What's going on? And how bad was the impact of COVID-19? The second topic is the path to recovery. And by the time this video will be broadcast, a few more weeks will have passed, and I'm hoping that we'll be well underway in this recovery process. And the third and last item I want to cover are new trends. What's going to change? What's going to stay the same? That's what I want to cover in these next few minutes. Well, let's go into the first one. According to the World Tourism and Travel Council, in 2020, 62 million jobs were lost. Turkey, unfortunately, was affected in line with this development, with revenue down 60% in 2020, down to $12 billion. Tourism constitutes 12% of Turkey's economy, generating foreign currency jobs and highly contributes to Turkey's positive image in the world. The airline industry has lost 2 to 3 years of growth on average, and some studies are even talking about 10 to 12 years in terms of paying back the debt that have been incurred over the last 2 years. SunExpress remains a stable and reliable partner throughout this crisis and after. We have full confidence in the Turkish government to take further steps to retain Turkey's status as a role model for safe tourism and destination. The second topic is the path to recovery. And this is the positive note after all the negative news in the first part. We support local, regional, and international initiatives to nurture tourism and its comeback. The recovery phase for tourism has started while I'm speaking, and again, this is a few weeks earlier than this will be broadcast. IATA expectations for 2021 have been 52% of pre-COVID passenger levels. 2022, they're already expecting 88%, and 2023, it will be back to the levels of 2019 and maybe slightly above. What we are observing is that there's traffic flows the moment borders are reopening, the moment travel restrictions are being lifted. For example, there was a 100% booking spike for the UK to Portugal traffic when the UK greenlisted the country back in May. Consumers have saved money during lockdowns. They went out for dinner less, they traveled less, and in some cases, this money saved exceeds 10% of the GDP. They're ready. We're ready. And travel is one of the most priority items to do when going back out there. Key factors which are fueling the recovery are obviously the vaccination campaigns, and they're running at full speed. 16% of the Turkish population, almost 50% of the European population, have been fully vaccinated with the second shot and 2 weeks after. A huge thank you to the Turkish government for prioritizing tourism employees with the vaccination drive. And we as SunExpress have also participated and benefited from this, with over 70% of our customer-facing employees already having been vaccinated. Countries have started easing travel restrictions. A few days ago, Germany, for example, moved Turkey from the list of high-risk countries to the list of risk countries. That means no more quarantine for everyone fully vaccinated, recovered from COVID, or negatively tested passengers when entering Germany. Turkey proves again to be a rebound country, as it has before. SunExpress has started the summer season on a high note. The first 5 months of the year were not too strong, far away from what we would call a normal season. But Turkey, again, being the rebound country as it is, has shown that it can turn around and that it can pick up the revenue and passenger streams that we've seen in years before. Normally, we have over 150,000 bookings per week. And this was even before the quarantine rules. Now it's become even stronger, and all business units within SunExpress are benefiting from this trend. Yields are positive. People love the fact that they can fly to the country they love. They've spent money and are willing to pay good money for that. If we look at last-minute sales and the timing of their bookings, at the beginning of the year, 75% of total bookings were made 14 days prior to departure. This was 35% during our regular season and before COVID. With the support of flexible products that we've come out with, for example, SunFlex, Corona Care Guarantee insurance, things that make travel easy again with all the hassles that COVID has put on us. Our short booking curves decreased to 64% in April. And of course, this is still very high compared to pre-pandemic years. With a clear focus on booking holiday flights, 50% of new bookings for July and August are even lower. Bookings and early demand indicators, for example, looking at Google Trends and sunexpress.com, people worldwide are eager to fly, and I think we can all relate to that, being eager to get out there again. Turkey offers great value for money, caters to all types of travelers, whether it's nature lovers, outdoors, beach lovers, great food, warm hospitality, it's all there. The Turkish community outside of Turkey started booking flights in the middle of May. And the last 3 weeks, our demand has been higher than that of 2019. Touristic demand has been strong since the easing of travel regulations last week. So again, this may be 3-4 weeks from now. Bookings rose by 125% in 1 week, 1.5 times stronger than in 2019. Moving Turkey from an EU high-risk country to a risk country is a major, major achievement, and we're very grateful for this. And it's the outcome of the great work in terms of the harsh lockdowns the Turkish government has decided to take. Again, SunExpress is ready to support this rebound through dedication, collaboration, and the warm-hearted spirit of our crew. The third item is what will change in tourism. And everybody's talking about, well, we've gotten used to video calls, FaceTime, Zoom, Teams meetings. And we can see that in business numbers that have gone down. But SunExpress is a company that very much relies on visiting friends and relatives, ethnic travel, families visiting each other. And we also see that that segment has been very stable. The touristic segment, we talked about everybody wants to travel again, is also up. And we're benefiting from an increased demand in safe and short-haul destination, so city travel and city visits. Until we will fully overcome the pandemic, safe tourism will absolutely be key. And the winners will be countries offering safe and hygienic travel with a good value for money ratio. Turkey proved again that it's a unique holiday destination with a safe tourism campaign and extensive hygiene measures. As SunExpress and a key contributor to Turkish tourism, we believe that Turkish tourism will gain considerable momentum and emerge from this crisis stronger. Flexible products offering tailor-made solutions for SunExpress will further boost this. The following options cater to the need of our passengers during the pandemic. You can buy a free middle seat next to you. You can do a Corona Care Guarantee insurance where you and your first-degree family members can change your flight if you are positive and infected by COVID. We also help take the stress and hassle out of filling out all the forms that are required, and we do it for you at the airport online. We've observed a great spirit for innovation in Turkish tourism. Visit Izmir app, for example, is a great example. The Orange Circle certificate, which SunExpress has received for safe and hygienic travel, is another. In closing, let me summarize. The tourism industry went through tough times. And believe me, as a CEO of an airline, having gone through this for the last 15 months, times have been tough. But recovery is on its way, and it is on us to make the most of it. Turkish tourism is strong, flexible, and innovative. The get up and go mentality and culture is unbeaten. We are confident that Turkey will emerge from the pandemic stronger than ever. And looking forward, I also am curious to gain the great insights from the microbiology and disease prevention professionals and listen to you what input and advice you have for our industry. Thank you again to the Izmir Metropolitan Mayor, Tunç Soyer, and to the organizers of this insightful conference. SunExpress connects people's hearts, and discussing safe outlines for future encounters is vital for us as a company and for stable recovery of this country. Hoş çakalın. Thank you very much for having me, and enjoy your conference.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to thank the Izmir Metropolitan City authorities and all the organizers of this convention for this great opportunity to speak about the way COVID-19 has impacted German and European travel industry and how tourism will recover. As we have all painfully experienced, the COVID-19 pandemic brought very difficult and quite challenging times upon us. Our globalized world became less globalized for already more than 1 year. People stopped going on business trips, and holidaymakers refrained from trips to faraway places and stayed in their backyards. Fortunately, it looks actually like the worst part of this pandemic and its drastic consequences for our entire industry are behind us. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to highlight the effects of the pandemic, please allow me to take you back to the beginning of 2020. Until February of that year, we were quite confident that 2020 would set economic records and everything seemed to be very bright. But then things turned bad. With the first wave of COVID-19, sales plummeted heavily and turnover dropped down by 80 or 90%. Even though German government gave substantial support by the way of funds, of loans, subsidies and employment supplements, the economic situation is difficult to cope with for the most of the professional players within the market. Without doubt, German travel industry has been hit very hard. However, I believe the blow to the tourism segment in many of our partner destinations is even worse and must be crushing. Especially in countries of the developing world, tourism has been a stable provider of income. Now that revenue from tourism has subsided, we were seeing the negative effects. Many families have problems to make ends meet. Schools are being shut because of missing tax revenues, and even wildlife is under pressure due to a new surge in poaching. There is just one positive thing we can mention about COVID-19 when it comes to tourism. Without the pandemic, we would never have estimated the worth of our enterprise. Obviously, there have been facts and figures around stating the tourism is one of the major economic drivers. But we have never had to witness that what a hard impact the breakdown of tourism has on everyday's life. How many people's livelihood are depending on this source of income. Full recovery will still take some time, no doubt. The year 2021 will be another challenging year for our industry economically. And this, not least because of the first half of the year is largely lost due to the de facto shutdown of the national and international travel activities. But we were seeing some light at the end of the COVID-19 tunnel. We are actually seeing in the last couple of weeks a lot of progress. Especially the Mediterranean seafront will see the return of many German holidaymakers this year. Turkey will certainly profit from that rollback. We are all very happy and pleased that Turkey is not longer listed as a risk destination by the German Foreign Office. This has already and will continue to have a significantly stimulate bookings to the various Turkish destinations. As you are aware of, Turkey is very popular with Germans. In summer 2019, Turkey was number 2 in the favor of the holidaymakers after Spain. In the current bookings received for the summer 2021, Turkey is in the 3rd place behind Greece and Spain, but actually very much catching up. However, it must be taken into account that the total bookings within the German source markets are still way below the average of a regular summer. We are pleased to see that the demand for holidays has not subsided. It is actually the other way around. People are, after all the restrictions of the last year, in a real need of a break, especially families with children, many of whom could not go for months to school or to kindergarten. People long for a holiday the way they used to spend their holidays. As the vaccination process increases momentum with a coherent testing strategy implemented and hygiene and safety measures in place, that will also be reflected in booking numbers. Turkey, as one of the all-time favorite holiday destinations, will definitely be back. The question is, will tourism be the same compared to our pre-COVID-19 industry? Will the way we view tourism change, or might we even witness a totally new tourism altogether? Unfortunately, I'm, as you are, not in possession of a magic crystal ball and able to glimpse into the future. but I can draw up a likely scenario. First of all, you should not believe that tourism is a stable, immobile phenomena. The opposite is the case. Tourism products have even changing all the while. The same is true for tourism industry. New innovative companies constantly are appearing. And I personally believe that our industry will get even more dynamic than we used to have in the past. The pace of change and innovation will increase, and the tourism portfolio will expand even further. Companies are under pressure to optimize their products, their internal processes, and their market access. The price tag will stay important, no doubts about that. But price is, in many cases, far from being the key factor to customers. Individualization is. We are going to see that the products on offer will become even more tailored to the customer's wishes. Remember mass tourism in the 70s and 80s. Very uniformed hotels catering the needs of a quite uniform holidaymakers. People from very strangers, blue-collar jobs in factories, wanting to relax at the beach. The jobs have changed, so have the ways people view their holidays. We need to have that in mind. What will we see on people's wish list? My answer would be authenticity, activity, and sustainability. Holidaymakers care about social and environmental standards, want to feel that they are having a positive impact to the destination and to the people. For the obvious reasons, people will be more aware of safety and health issues following the COVID-19 pandemic. Obviously, we are all hoping that the vaccination will be able to counter COVID-19 effectively, and we will be back to a so-called new normal. As with a risk and the tweets in our global world, holidaymakers will realize that in our globalized world, there is no way to shut an infection out. People will have to watch out for themselves, make precautions, and be considerate to others, regardless in what part of the world they are spending their time. We will come to accept and to live the disease as good as we all can. Travel industry has made a lot of concessions to keep travel and holidays safe. I'm quite positive that we will manage to minimize the risk for our customers, for our clients, for the holidaymakers, and the business travelers alike. We are recovering. It will take some time, but I'm quite sure we will get there. The German travel industry knows that we can rely on its Turkish counterparts, on our Turkish friends and long-lasting partners. The Turkish tourism product is of high quality and value. German holidaymakers who have been to Turkey know and keep returning. It's up to us to get things going again. Let's roll up our sleeves and see to it that we get tourism's engine up and running again. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome. My name is Terry Dale and I'm the President and CEO of the United States Tour Operators Association based in New York City. It's a real pleasure for me to join you today. So what I want to share with you is our vision. We at USTOA are a community of leaders working to make the world a better place to travel. And I think that is so admirable. We all need to leave this earth in a better shape than we found it originally. So currently, USTOA has 49 active members. Those 49 active members own and operate 145 tour operator brands. And then we have over 650 associate members, of which you are one of those. And we totally applaud your support, and we appreciate that. We have 57 of our brands who currently have product going to Turkey. And these are some of the iconic brands that are going to Turkey today. So I did want to share with you a personal story. When I first took this job at USTOA a decade ago, I had never been on a tour. So my board of directors said, you pick any place in the world that you would like to go, and we will make sure you get there and have an amazing experience. So I picked Turkey. Turkey was the place that I had always longed to go to, and I hadn't yet gotten to. So I spent 12 days traveling your country, and I have to say, to this day, it remains one of my cherished spots in this earth. Now, I traveled with Globus, who is one of our active members. I had local experiences like a local shave, which was amazing. And I met with icons of the Turkey tourism industry, and we all miss her, I know. But it was just an extraordinary experience a decade ago. So what's important for me to share is that we are unique at USTOA because we have the $1 Million Travelers Assistance Program, which requires each of our active members to post $1 million, whether it's in a bond or a letter of credit or a treasury note that we hold at USTOA. If they should cease operations, the customer can come to us and we would work with them to refund a deposit that they may have had on hold with that particular company. So this is a very unique program to instill consumer confidence. When you travel with a USTOA member, you should feel confident that we are going to deliver on our promise and our brand. So currently we have 11 associate members in Turkey, and these are some of the names who are part of our USTOA family, and we thank you for your support. Every other year, we do economic impact study with PwC, and I want to share some of those stats with you now. First of all, we learned that we are a $19 billion industry. We also know that we take roughly 9.5 million US travelers to every corner of the world. And our members purchase over $13 billion in goods and services. That equates to 21 million hotel room nights and almost 6 million airline seats. And the majority of that transaction goes through the travel advisor. And they continue to be a critical part of our business model at USTOA. So if we look at 2020, and as we know, it was a challenging year. So this was before the pandemic broke. Half of our companies said that they were doing business the second half of 2020, which I think speaks volumes about our ability to be agile, our ability to pivot. We knew that domestic was going to drive any travel at the end of last year. So that's what our members adapted to. And of course, the challenge is trying to understand the different quarantine restrictions, coordination of protocols, and limited availability of rapid testing. So what we also learned is that 33% of our customers who traveled with us last year said that the new wellness protocols did not hinder their overall travel experience. And that's significant. And we did have half of our members requiring our guests to sign a health disclosure acknowledging COVID-19 and whether they had been tested or whether they had actually experienced the virus. So when we ask our travelers, what are they looking for? Obviously, the cancellation and refund policy is top of mind, health protocols, and of course, insurance policies. And when we look at where they're going, currently, 65% are still going international and 35% are staying within North America. Now, when we talk about future confidence for this year, 69% are confident or highly confident that guest bookings will increase in 2021. And 90% express some form of optimism about the resumption of business and travel in 2021. And we are clearly seeing signs of that today. And when we talk about the travel advisor, which I mentioned briefly before, 88% of our members plan to utilize travel advisors to generate sales, and 72% of members expect business booked by advisors to increase or remain the same in 2021. They continue to be key to our success. And if we look at the different types of products that are being offered, top of the list, small group tours, followed by private groups and FIT. And then you also see river cruising, small ship cruising, classic group tours of 25 plus passengers, as well as ocean cruising, rounding out the list. And then, of course, when we talk about trends for 2021, top of mind is always safety and wellness, border reopening, distance and ease of travel to and from the destination, value, and certainly outdoor travel is part of the equation. If we talk about threats to travel in 21, our members tell us that, of course, pandemics or other health crises, that's a threat, a potential recession, or global financial instability also is something that weighs heavily on our mind. So, 87% of Americans today have travel plans in the next 6 months. And I think that bodes extremely well for Turkey. And March 26th, Turkey and Greece were named the hottest destinations for this summer travel season. And I sure hope that that bodes and bears out later this summer travel season. So obviously there are some principles to safely restoring travel. This comes from WTTC, and it's really looking for a coordinated approach in the EU. We have to shift to individual traveler risk assessment, country by country, which is key. And we need to reinforce our health and hygiene protocols as we open up travel globally. So I'd just like to end by saying we have such a long history of partnership with Turkey and USTOA, and we know that that means growth. And we all need that, obviously, in this environment. And we thank you for that partnership, and we look forward to many successful years moving forward. So thank you so much and have a great conference.
Thank you, Mr. Tunç, for the invitation to the Izmir World Pandemic Conference. Slow Food knows how much you are devoted to developing solutions that help the world to improve after the pandemic. Since the outbreak of the coronavirus, Slow Food has been vocal about the likely role played by industrial agriculture and the disruption of ecosystems in the emergence of coronavirus. The measures taken to slow down the spread of the virus have had an adverse impact on global food chains, both short and long. Travel restrictions have prevented seasonal workers from reaching the fields, putting entire harvests at risk. Exports restrictions introduced in a few countries are halting crucial flow of staple foods. As an example, when Vietnam suspended its rice export, Malaysia was left with only 2.5 months of rice supply, raising risk of increased food insecurity. The COVID-19 pandemic is deeply increasing already existing inequalities. Before the pandemic broke out, 820 million people worldwide were undernourished, and 2 billion people experienced food insecurity. A report by FAO, the World Food Programme, and 14 other organizations warned that the coronavirus crisis will have a dramatic impact on the access of vulnerable populations to food and the availability of food, and on the household's income, which are likely to contribute to pushing more than 250 million people to the brink of starvation. On the other hand, the COVID-19 crisis is uncovering the strong resilience of local food systems, the adaptability of small-scale producers, food artisans and cooks, and the incredible power of communities. We have witnessed amazing acts of solidarity across the world in small and big communities. The city of Izmir was in the front line of such acts of solidarity. Slow Food urges decision makers to start building the foundation for sustainable food systems and not to restore to business as usual solutions in response to the COVID-19 crisis. This is true also for the tourist sector. As world tourism begins recovering from the coronavirus crisis, we have to place destination needs at the center of tourism. As the Future of Tourism Alliance puts it down, decades of unfettered growth in travel have put the world's treasured places at risk, environmentally, culturally, socially, and financially. Now, the tourism industry faces a precarious and uncertain future. Recentering around sustainability is key for long-term, deep-rooted growth. This is why Slow Food has launched a new project named Slow Food Travel. From a gastronomic perspective, we are aware that tourism and the food sector do not interact as they should and could. On the one hand, this reduces the possibility of tourism having a positive multiplier effect on the high-quality artisan food production of a given destination. On the other hand, it often jeopardizes the opportunity offered by a local gastronomic heritage to truly contribute to building a tourism product that is truly unique and not replicable. So what does it mean, slow food travel? It means building a destination where quality food and tourism interact in the best way possible. This means building menus and breakfasts in hotels and restaurants that truly incorporate the local products that are traditional, typical, and artisanal, and that give visibility to those products and producers in the menus and breakfast. This also means working with the stakeholders of the food sector, whether restaurants, hotels, or producers, to be able to develop out of their unique food heritage, unique food tourism experiences. Food tourism is growing exponentially. Once considered to be of interest to only a few, or possibly even elitist by some, today the appreciation and search for good food and drink is fully mainstream, with 53% of leisure travelers choosing their next destination because of food and drink. This is stunning figures. Emerging trends show also that people are likely to travel as they were in the past, possibly even more. Yet, people have also changed their gaze on what they expect along their journey. You see, we have been stuck in our homes and towns for so long, drifted away from our real lives, often forced to spend a great part of our day in front of a screen, interacting via Zoom, Teams, or Skype. People have hunger for the real life, true experiences delivered by authentic people. Our small-scale farmers, artisan food producers and chefs, the communities behind them across the globe, represent the guardians of a unique food heritage that they truly live in their everyday work. This is exactly that authenticity that tourists search for more and more. Slow Food is here to help precisely to develop this potential in the most sustainable way. 4 years since the launch of Slow Food Travel, results are very encouraging. In our first destination launched in Austria 4 years ago, last year in 2020, the number of tourist nights has increased by 30% compared to 2019. This is a stunning figure. Of course, it is not only the merit of Slow Food. It was also thanks to many other factors, but yet it is very encouraging to us. It is an encouraging sign that we should continue along the path we have taken. Today we have 11 destinations available in 3 countries, Italy, Switzerland, and Austria, but we are growing fast, and new destinations are expected to be launched this year in Austria, Azerbaijan, and Ecuador. Who knows, maybe we will be working soon to have our first Slow Food Travel destination in Turkey as well. Why not? In the Aegean coastal region. One last consideration, a cross-cutting one. The pandemic has outlined how communities matter in building our resilience to shocks such as that of COVID-19. In the past years, we have been increasingly induced by social media, internet, our lifestyles to interact just with like-minded people, often dislocated everywhere in the world. But we had forgotten who are our neighbors. We could ignore who they were. The pandemic has taught us the importance of relations of proximity, of solidarity with each other. In a nutshell, it has placed again the community we live in at the center of our world. We shall keep this lesson and dedicate time and resources to nurture our communities. In a world where it is increasingly difficult to read the world around us, to talk with each other, to understand what's real from what's fake, the community is a model that can give us the strength and solidity to thrive as individuals and as societies. At Slow Food, we have always believed in the power of communities, and Mayor Tunç knows this very well too. This is why it has always been very easy to cooperate with him and his administration. He knows the importance of building ties and connection across our communities to make our communities more resilient and sustainable. So, thank you very much. I will follow the other interventions with great interest. Çok teşekkür ederim. Thank you and bye.
Your Excellency, the Mayor of Izmir Metropolitan Municipality, Mr. Tunç Soyer, distinguished dignitaries, speakers, delegates, my friends from the travel and tourism industry, ladies and gentlemen, I am truly delighted to join the World Pandemic Conference organized by the city of Izmir, which also has a section that focuses on travel and tourism. I must compliment the organizers because it's a great cause. I represent UFTA. Please allow me to briefly refer to UFTA, United Federation of Travel Agents Association. We are a 55-year-old global federation of national associations and are represented in over 70 countries. We are truly delighted that our Golden Jubilee World Congress was hosted in your most beautiful country, Turkey, in the magnificent city of Istanbul. TURSAP is an important and favorite National Association member of UFTA. TourSAB, with over 12,000 members, is UFTA's largest member association. It is outstandingly led by the most dynamic president, Mr. Firuz Baglikaya, who's a very popular speaker in UFTA as well. UFTA's role in tourism is very vast and is ably supported by TourSAB. Mr. Setin Gursun, who had served as the Secretary General of TourSAB, is now the Vice President of Tourism in UFTA. UFTA brings heartiest compliments to the Mayor of Izmir, Your Excellency, Mr. Tunç Soyer, for this most outstanding event, which is very rich in content. Your Excellency, we at UFTA are highly appreciative of your leadership to the tourism sector for a very long time. And we are very confident that you will enhance the potential of visitors to Turkey in general and Izmir in particular. I must mention that I was fascinated to read about Izmir, a destination that travelers, in my opinion, must include always in their itinerary. It is very rich in amazing history, unique culture, fantastic gastronomy, incredible sceneries, so much of beauty and wonder, and indeed a paradise to experience. Your Excellency, at UFTA, we shall certainly try and promote Izmir and look forward to an opportunity to partner with you and the city of Izmir to promote this most happening destination. Congratulations to you, Your Excellency, and the city of Izmir, that you have been chosen as the first Sita Slow or Slow City Metropole. People living here and visitors are gifted with clean, green, and most friendly environment. Wow, what a fantastic place. Dear friends, my presentation today will focus on the impact of the pandemic briefly, tourism beyond the new normal, tourism expectations, and the destination preferences for tourists to choose from. I shall be very quick and short. The impact. According to WTTC, prior to the pandemic, 1 in 4 of all new jobs in this world was in travel and tourism industry. We actually accounted for 10.6% of all the jobs in the world. Travel and tourism also accounted for about 10.4% of global GDP, which is $9.2 trillion, and this is in 2019. What happened in 2020? Came the pandemic, and the industry suffered a huge loss, almost US $4.5 trillion in losses or in reductions from the previous records. In 2020, 62 million jobs were lost. Domestic visitor spending decreased by 45%. International spending declined by an unprecedented 69.4%. I can go on and give you more statistics, but this is adequate for us to appreciate the size and contribution of this most fascinating industry, which must be brought back to its 2019 levels very soon and then scale up to new levels. So there's a very huge responsibility on the governments, on different nations of the world, and everyone connected as stakeholders in travel and tourism industry to strive to get the industry back as soon as we can to our 2019 levels. When we talk about tourism beyond the new normal, first let us interpret what the pandemic did to our industry. It caused chaos, it caused fear, disruption, brought about uncertainty among travelers, which resulted in people staying back or not traveling as they did before. They were always worried about coping with uncertainty. While this negative impact did bring about a global crisis in many industries, travel and tourism industry took a bigger hit, either in the area of travel, tourism, hospitality, or MICE. The pandemic took away the sheen or the luster of the tourism industry. Tourism was the best form of leisure. You know, you talk about leisure, and tourism was the best form of leisure that people looked forward to. If you want to try and interpret the word leisure, it represents freedom, relaxation, holiday, or vacation, joy, and more. Like our basic or physiological needs, tourism became an important need for people because leisure offered them to get away and celebrate the experience. This getaway, with a lot of excitement, a lot of fun, offering reunion, discovery, gastronomy for those ardent travelers, well, life without periodic leisure is very difficult to live. Now, the big question is, what next? Travel, tourism, culture, and gastronomy during the pandemic has certainly taken a big hit. The world has been asking many questions. How long can this big hit last? When will the world get back closer to normalcy? When will tourism open up again? Will people travel in groups as they did before? Will they opt for longer duration travel? Somebody traveling for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, do you think it'll happen again? Now we are confronted with these questions which have a lot of answers. Everyone's trying to give their own response. But in my opinion, and my colleague Zinufta, we all believe that we need to redesign these questions. The challenge before us is how quickly can we overcome the negative impact and move forward. So the question should now be, what can we offer to support people overcome fear of travel? There's a big fear of travel. So what can we offer to support people overcome this fear? How soon can we create comfort zones for tourists? You know, you need to extend hand-holding. That will give tourists a lot of comfort. How soon can we create these comfort zones so that tourists will start moving out? What innovative approaches must be launched into to attract people to travel and get back to leisure? I think we need to start looking at a new normal followed by the next normal. And the next normal must be packed with a lot of innovative approaches. And that's our challenge. How ready are we to bring in more technology to blend with tourism? Because now tourism is not just an opportunity to travel, it's got balancing aspects. One aspect, the health and environment, and the other aspect, it's got to be driven by technology, a lot more technology than it did before. Because the tourism expectations are growing by size. Tourism, in our opinion, is expected to come back. When you talk about how soon, we would say in 2022, during 2022, we may get closer to the 2019 numbers. Maybe in 2023, we may match these numbers and start overtaking them. Unless we are impacted by another spike, the world cannot afford another spike in the pandemic. And this is a very underlying point that I wish to make. Tourism, ladies and gentlemen, now a new norm has set in. And the new norm is that people must start believing tourism will be more expensive than it was before. Of course, since transport, air travel costs, hospitality costs, F&B, cost of related services, all of them have taken a bigger load of the negative impact. Now everyone's going to try to come back to sustainability, and they will be available at a higher price. But then it needs to be offered to tourists as a package that is much safer, secure, and more carefully designed. So we need to build in a lot of value. When you're asking more money, obviously you have to add a lot of value into tourism. We see large groups. I'm giving you an example. Large groups in family and friends. Well, this is a travel that has sized down extensively today. Now, will it happen? We see large families, groups of friends, partying together, traveling together, celebrating occasions together. Now, we need those groups very badly. But then they can only happen when they are backed up with a lot of hand-holding by the destinations. The numbers today are smaller, and the duration of the tour is also shortened. This is one important aspect that we must acknowledge. Somebody was ready to travel for 2-3 weeks, even a month. But today people are conscious of making the travels shorter, come back to base, and then go again. What kind of destination preferences will tourists be looking at? This is an important question. Tourists are expecting destinations to offer more safety and security, particularly emergency services, easier health protocols. A lot of governments are coming up with protocols. They have to be user-friendly, easier health protocols, more facility at their command, and much better hand-holding. Technology will play an important role. There is a need for many more apps to get introduced to turn up on tourist smartphones with a 24/7 assistance. The app can be their all-time guide and keep them connected every time. So you're traveling, you will have a map which is like your all-time guide. And that map, that particular app can make your life easy. Destinations that reflect care and concern will also be preferred. Media today plays a very big role, and media will continue to play the big role in promoting destinations that are not impacted much with the pandemic. One can't opt for a destination where the cases spike often. This is an area that the local governments must be conscious about. So if you want to promote a destination, make sure the pandemic's impact is the minimal or not there at all. Having said all of this, I must mention there is an urgent need, a high priority need for the governments to work together, to team up if you want tourism to be promoted well. There must be uniform and friendly global health protocols that must encourage more tourism. If your protocol is difficult, impossible to achieve, or making it so complex that people would run away, stay at home rather than taking a getaway, then tourism is getting affected. Surely the government must take care to ensure that there's no inflow of the pandemic into their country. But then that can be done in many more ways which can appear and which are friendly to the tourists. This is one area that the world is certainly concerned about. Now, UFTA is publishing a promotion on vaccine equity. We are talking about vaccine equity. Very soon we have our General Assembly. We will be promoting resolutions, asking governments for friendly protocols to be put into practice, less of discrimination. Without this, tourism will be a challenge as an industry and as an opportunity for the discerning traveler. In conclusion, my dear friends, allow me to say that the times ahead will be a new norm to live and cope with. We have to learn to live and grow with such situations. I always keep telling myself and a lot of my friends that each one of us in our own living must prove to be superior to circumstance. So this kind of an environment certainly is challenging, but it comes with opportunities as well. This is what life is now teaching all of us. Those who can cope up and move fast will make it big. The first mover advantage is offered to the hundreds, thousands, or even millions who are ready to plunge into offering a better world for the purposes of promoting much more tourism. I'm quite certain that by the end of this conference, the organizers, led by His Excellency the Mayor and supported well by TourSAB, they will come out with some kind of a global directive that can assist nations, countries, organizations like UFTA, work in tandem with WTO, and then make it more user-friendly for tourism to succeed, and then very soon try and achieve the numbers that we had in 2019. Our goal is not just to achieve the 2019 numbers. Our goal is to get back to normalcy, go beyond these numbers, and that is where we have to start designing the next normal. All the very best. Congratulations once again, and thank you very much.